What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. We're here with the Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk post-fight press conference, and basically Anthony Joshua, apparently he broke down crying. I opted not to watch it yesterday, and I wanted to react to it on YouTube. So without saying much more, let's just get into it.
With the speech, I was just speaking about where I'd come from. Like, I was on the roads, like, really, and I made a transition in boxing, and it really helped me change my life. You know, bring me closer to God, bring me closer to meeting so many amazing people, and I just kind of laid it all on the line with my speech. But listen, let's not forget about the champ Oleksandr Usyk, who put on a phenomenal performance as well.
People were off their seats with respect, screaming you on to knock Oleksandr Usyk out from the 8th round onwards.
Yeah, I was one of them. At home,
I'm not. Look, when you lose, you're not ultimately happy because.
Let me just find where he start crying, and I'm gonna give my thoughts because this guy's talking too much.
And it wasn't good enough. Tonight wasn't good enough, but you can see I adapted. I made the changes needed to give him a more competitive fight. It wasn't enough, but I left everything in the gym.
In the gym?
Left everything in the ring, I would have won. But I definitely pushed myself in training camp.
Doesn't matter what you did in camp. If you didn't show those results in the ring.
Oh, man. Oh. Trust me, no, man.
Who's got a question for me while we're waiting?
Radio Raheem. Eddie, this is a journey that you've been on as well, the whole way.
All right, so okay, here are my thoughts. Right now, I'm gonna compare this press conference to when Jermell Charlo lost to Tony Harrison the first time. See, he cried the first time. Where was his reaction when he lost to Usyk the first time? Now, I don't even remember the post-fight, press conference, from the first fight. But clearly it wasn't the same, response. Now, my thing is, when you lost to Usyk the first time, you were supposed to go back to the drawing board. Now, I don't remember when they fought the first time. I guess it was earlier this year, like first quarter of the year. Between that time and now, you were supposed to come up with a strategic game plan that you can implement from rounds 1 through 12. He came in there the second time because the first fight he did next to nothing. Now, I will say he did a couple of things enough to visibly damage, Usyk facially. But other than that, like stylistically, strategically, he didn't do anything with Usyk the first time. And then it's like he came in there in the first couple of rounds, kind of, showing a different look to eventually do the same thing that he did the first time. Now, it's like when they display the tail of the tape and then you see the physical stats, the physical differences between Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua had everything going for himself. He had everything going for himself the first fight, and he had everything going for himself the second fight, and then some, because he had time to prepare, to learn from his mistakes, for him to make the same exact mistakes over and over again. Him crying at this press conference doesn't mean anything to me. Now, granted, I respect him more than I respect Deontay Wilder, and I have a whole rant as to why I don't respect Deontay Wilder anymore. And a lot of what I said in that video, I would pretty much say in this one, but I'm not going to. So if you want to know my reasons, watch that video. Anthony Joshua pretty much let the sport of boxing in the UK down. Because there are some fighters who, they are good fighters, but they're not good for the sport. Usyk is not good for the sport. What type of personality does, Oleksandr Usyk have? Like, most people, they don't know him. People in this country, in America, don't know him. At least you could say Anthony Joshua has some sort of cachet in the United States as to where people will always want to see him fight Deontay Wilder. If you ask any casual who they would want to see Deontay Wilder fight, they're probably going to say Anthony Joshua. I don't want to see Deontay Wilder versus Usyk. I don't want to see Usyk fight Tyson Fury. I mean, to me, Tyson Fury will beat him. You know, what I wanted to see was Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, even though I believe Tyson Fury is going to win. But anyway, that's besides the point. You know, neither here nor there. Long story short is, I don't have any sympathy for Anthony Joshua, because if you are a student of the sport, if you are a student of the craft of boxing, you would have went back to the drawing board and you would have shown up prepared. Boxing has a lot more to do with having, you know, being muscle bound and having all the muscles and being in shape. It goes beyond that. And it's like, with him, I didn't see much. And everything he was supposed to do, he showed little flashes of it. That's all he had to do, was impose his size, impose his power advantage onto Usyk, and Anthony Joshua would have won that fight with ease. I think Terrence Crawford said that. He said if Anthony Joshua would have let his hands go, it would be a completely different fight. Because if you notice, when Anthony Joshua was you know, forcing him to fight on the inside and coming forward and letting his hands go, Usyk couldn't do anything. He couldn't do anything. It's like, wait, what? Did he get paid to throw the fight or something? Because I don't understand how somebody that big and strong could literally just stand there and attempt to box with a smaller guy whose whole stylistic game plan is to outbox you. Anthony Joshua, I don't know the names of his, you know, previous trainers before, but he clearly switched trainers for no reason. Anthony Joshua had the opportunity to train with Ronnie Shields out in Houston, you know, who is Jermall Charlo's, you know, head trainer and Jermell Charlo's former trainer. And when he came to Ronnie Shields' gym, the Charlo brothers were there. Now, when news was going on that he was shopping around for new trainers, and when I found out that he went down to see Ronnie Shields, I was like, that would actually be a good look for him, because on the undercard, Hrgović and Zhang, even though I felt that Zhang won the fight, what I liked about Hrgović was that he was putting punches together. He was letting his hands go. Or if not letting his hands go, but he had a consistent punch output enough to influence the judges to give him the fight. Because despite how me and a lot of other viewers, you know, saw that fight, he won anyway. Why? Because he probably won on points. What Zhang was able to do wasn't enough in comparison to what Hrgović was doing consistently throughout the fight. Yeah, he might have got knocked down. Yeah, he got stunned a couple of times, but consistently, he was letting his hands go. And that's something that, if you look at a lot of Ronnie Shields fighters, they do that. Like, they all have, you know, that same kind of, you know, aggressive, consistent, dominant approach. See, Anthony Joshua was not imposing his dominance and asserting dominance over Usyk. He wasn't doing that. It's like you're letting the little guy initiate the exchanges, and then you're reacting to the exchanges he initiates, instead of it being the other way around. As the bigger, stronger guy, you're supposed to be walking him down the entire time. You're supposed to be imposing your size on him, making him react to you, and then offsetting whatever rhythm he wants to build up to. Because an outboxer like Usyk has to create a rhythm and establish a rhythm over time, and it might take him a couple of rounds to do so. But if you're constantly mauling him, he doesn't have a chance to set up anything, because you're constantly in his chest. That is all he had to do. Anthony Joshua, yeah, he should cry. He should be crying, because you know what? You threw the fight. You threw the fight. Devin Haney seen it. Terrence Crawford seen it. Errol Spence seen it. I seen it. Everybody else on Twitter seen it except you. And you are a professional fighter with plenty of experience. So it's like, what were you doing in camp? Just hitting the mitts and doing neck exercises? And what were you doing? What were you doing? Like, I don't know what Robert Garcia was saying to him in the corner, but he needed Ronnie Shields, because you know what Ronnie Shields does in the corner? If you go out there and you have a bad round, he yells at you. That's what he needs. That's exactly what he needs. You don't need to hire these guys that are going to baby you and then just treat you like a celebrity. No, Anthony Joshua needed to go back to basics. In training with somebody like Ronnie Shields, I'm pretty sure in Ronnie Shields' camp, he's not going to treat you any better than he's going to treat any of his other fighters. I'm pretty sure somebody like Ronnie Shields treats everybody the same. And that's what he needs. I bet you, training with Robert Garcia, he probably got the celebrity treatment, the A-lister treatment. Nah, that's not what you need. That's not what you need. So, you know, I don't feel any sympathy for him, because guess what? When Jermell Charlo cried at his last press conference, you know what he did? He came back the second fight and won. He won the second fight. He did things differently. Because the reason why Jermell Charlo lost to Tony Harrison the first time was because he tried to box with Tony Harrison, who is a guy that is just a straight boxer, an outboxer. You can't do that, because that's his thing. That is what he does. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like Jermell Charlo, where he shines is that aggressive style, asserting his dominance on fighters. That's what he does. That's what he's good for. You don't have these asses and these tools and then just choose not to use them because you want to look like some traditional boxer. That's not you. That's not what you are. He stood there and told Usyk, you're not strong. So if you knew that, then why were you trying to box a guy that you said was not strong? You could have easily went in there and forced him into exchanges. If he's not strong, then you're always going to get the better of the exchanges. Why? Because you are the stronger guy. What I don't understand is that a lot of these heavyweight fighters these days, I feel like they buy into the heavyweight narrative. And what I mean by that is they tell themselves they have to be like the fighters that came before them, like Ali, Tyson, etc. You don't be yourself. Like, stop buying into these theatrics. The reason why I don't like Deontay Wilder is because Deontay Wilder is all theatrics. Like, he's just a gimmick. Like, so every time this guy opens his mouth, it's like Keith Thurman. It's like a gimmick. And I get it. Like, you have to activate a certain character in order for people to kind of emotionally, invest into who you are as a public figure, as a fighter. But sometimes that takes precedence over what you actually do in the ring. And I feel like Anthony Joshua is doing that. And I feel like he's got too many people in his ear. And I understand when you get to that level of success and notoriety and all of that, people are going to be in your ear and telling you things. But it's like somebody like him, I don't know what he's doing in there. Like, I completely don't understand what he's doing. So when I see like DAZN Boxing and, Matchroom Sky, whomever on social media saying, oh, well, who should Anthony Joshua fight next? Well, let me tell you something. Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, they are in the loser circle. They can only hope to fight each other, and then, I would probably watch it, but, the thing is, I expected more from the two of them, and that's exactly why I feel as disappointed as I am, is because when I know you have what it takes to beat somebody, and then you just do the bare minimum, it's just like, I'm not gonna disrespect you because you get on the mic at the post-fight press conference and start crying. You're not gonna get any sympathy from me like this. And I'm seeing people saying, oh yeah, Anthony Joshua, oh yeah, I feel bad for him, or he's a GOAT, I respect him because he shed a couple of tears. Man, let me tell you something, those is crocodile tears, because at the end of the day, when he watches that fight, if he ever does, and he watches it from a learning perspective in order to learn from his loss, he will understand that, I could have actually won that fight. When he sees those, 6th, 7th, 8th round exchanges where he pressed the action, he'd be like, dang, I should have been doing that the entire time. That's what students do. It's something that Derrick James said about Jermell Charlo during one of the All Accesses, I think for his rematch with Castaño. Right? He said that Jermell had to own that loss. Like, he didn't take ownership of the last loss to Usyk, because if he did, he would have shed tears the first time he lost to him. See, because when he lost to Andy Ruiz, he went back to basics and said, okay, you know what? Let me strategically beat this guy. And then he fought Andy Ruiz. Yeah, it might not have been Rock'em Sock'em, the most entertaining, heavyweight fight ever, but he did what he had to do to beat him, and he earned my respect for that. The first loss with Usyk, I don't remember what he said, but I know he didn't cry, and because of that, he should have taken ownership of that loss and then came in a completely different fighter, not looking the part, because Deontay Wilder threw a couple of body shots at Tyson Fury, and then a few rounds later, he just did exactly what he always does, just looking for that one punch. And And then him, it's like, I don't know, something might have happened to him where he just doesn't want to, take shots anymore. He doesn't want to take damage and stuff like that. So he just stands outside and boxes. And I'm like, yo, this guy's a little guy compared to you. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. And he just didn't do it because me, in his corner, I would have told him, you have one job. Let your hands go. Leave it all in the ring. I said it on Twitter last night. I said, yo, he has to leave it all in the ring. The only excuse for being fatigued is that you are letting your hands go. That's it. That's all he had to do. Because, again, physically, Usyk would not have an answer to it. There's not a lot that Usyk can do against a guy like Anthony Joshua who is just teeing off on him. That's all Anthony Joshua had to do was just throw stiff jabs, power shots. Everything should be a power shot in spurts. That's all he had to do. I don't know what the disconnect is or what, he wants to be a drug dealer talking about being in the streets and going to jail and all of that. Like, yo, let me tell you something. He told Usyk that, you beat me because you have skill. You're not strong. So why didn't you get skill yourself? Enhance what you are good at. Get back to who you are. This is something that the commentators were saying that Robert Garcia said that he can get back to the old Anthony Joshua. Well, it's not going to take that much to get there. Why are you training with Robert Garcia? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, train with Ronnie Shields. Like, that's exactly who he had to train with. And then I watched it. I used to watch this interview a lot. And then he used to say, yo, like, he sat, I believe he said he sat with Anthony Joshua and watched the first fight with Usyk. And then he wouldn't tell the interviewer what they discussed as far as what he needs to do to be able to beat him the second time. Why would you not stay with a guy like that? Why? Why? Everything that Hrgovic was doing, Anthony Joshua should have been doing. And Anthony Joshua clearly has the athleticism and the skill level in order to do the same thing that he was doing. I don't know what's up, but like I said, there's part of me that still respects Anthony Joshua. I'm not going to say that I don't respect him. I'm not going to say that I'm not a fan anymore. But I'd be lying if I said that I'm looking forward to his next fight. Because as of right now, I am not. Like Deontay Wilder, I could care less about the Bronze Bomber. I could care less about him. I could care less about him. It's like I respect Tyson Fury, and I don't like Usyk, but I have no choice but to respect it. I have no choice. What am I going to say? Oh, it was a fluke and Anthony Joshua won? Because that's not true. Because Anthony Joshua did what he did the first time, which was not use your assets, not use your tools, and do next to nothing, and then just try to glide by. Like, I don't know why, and you know what? I don't care, but people should not give this man any sympathy, because sympathy is not going to win him the fights that he needs to win in order to secure his legacy. Yeah, you might have beat Klitschko, but that was a long time ago. It's not about what you did before. It's about what you're doing right now. And then all he's showing is that he is not an evolving boxer. Like, what you've seen is what you're always going to see from him. And you know what? That's okay. Because it's got him this far. He's a millionaire. He don't have to work. That's cool if that's what you're fighting for. But if you're fighting for legacy and you want to be one of those fighters that will go down in history, the way you do that is by constantly being a student of the craft. People lose sometimes. Like, that's just life. You're going to take L's in life. But how you bounce back from them is learning from your losses. You don't just say, oh, I'm going to be a champion again. Go through a camp, do all the, the glitz and glam and all of that. I think you're going to show up, do the same thing again. And then, like, you're going to glide by, because that one judge that gave him that winning scorecard, that was a gift. And politics got him that scorecard, because you know what? That was a unanimous decision. Okay? So, Anthony Joshua, I know you're probably never going to, see this, but get back to basics, dog. Because these little interviews and these flashy documentaries that you be doing and all of that, that's not what matters when you are a fighter. When you are a fighter, it's about your lifestyle. You said it in the interview. You said it in the press conference. You said that, it takes a lot to be able to live this lifestyle. Well, guess what? You want to be a celebrity. You want to be a celebrity public figure. You want to do talking. You know what I'm saying? And then you want to do the same exact thing, rinse and repeat, and think that's going to work against a guy who's a boxer? Nah, it's not gonna work. He doesn't have my sympathy for me, and like I said, I lost 3.5 out of 4 respect from him. I lost like 80% of respect from him. I would say 90% of respect for him. I respect him 10% just as for him being a fighter and getting to that echelon. But outside of that, no. So with that said, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.